Hey guys, welcome to another episode of MP Talk, the official MP First podcast where we talk about the multiplayer games we love to play. And after last week's single player sidetrack, we are getting back on focus with some more multiplayer news and rumors on Star Wars Battlefront. That's right, we're going to be talking about Star Wars today. It's obviously a ways away. There isn't much info about it, but we're hoping to hear some stuff maybe sometime during the spring. But the release is happening about a couple months or a few weeks before the official release of Star Wars The Force Awakens, the new film coming out in this holiday. So we're just going to spend a day talking about some of the latest rumors that have come out, what is confirmed, and also what we want to see out of the game, because we're obviously all very passionate about Star Wars. We're all very passionate about first-person shooter games, especially when it's something that, DICE is making, developers of the Battlefield series. So we're going to talk about that. And I have with me, once again, our amazing cast. We have Denny. How's it going?
Hey, it's going pretty good.
Jimmy, what's up, man?
Hey, nothing much.
Cool. And Tom, how are you, sir?
What's going on, man? I don't have a Star Wars impression, sorry.
That's okay. Are we going to do Star Wars impressions?
You were the chosen one.
Good.
No. I don't know how to do Luke Skywalker. I don't know how to.
Don't do it, Anakin. I have the high ground.
Fucking Anakin. He's so useless. Doesn't know his tactics. So he uses the high ground.
All right, so let's
cut.
go over some of these rumors really quick. They surfaced from a fan site. What's their name? I don't even remember their name. They were Star Wars. I have it linked anyways. We're going to link the article so you guys know what's up.
Making Star Wars is the fan site.
Oh, that's it. Yeah, I have it right there. Making Star Wars. So let's, you guys mind stay a while and listen, and I'm going to read off some of these rumors. So according to the details from an insider, Star Wars Battlefront will span the original trilogy, battles in the Clone Wars, Revenge of the Sith, and will even touch on moments that take place before or during the opening segments of The Force Awakens, the new film. So that's kind of our setting. It's like the older games, it will span, I guess, the entire saga that's out there so far, but, to coincide with the release of the film, we're getting, I guess, a little tease of what's to come in the film. Not sure how, again, of course, these are rumors, right? So take this with a teaspoon or a tablespoon of salt. As in previous Battlefield titles, users will experience the battles from both sides of the war, playing as the Rebel Alliance, the Republic, the Separatists, and the Empire in the single-player campaign, which is said to be a lot longer than usual, so there will be a hefty single-player component. There will be character ships, will include the X-Wing, the TIE Fighters, sort of your standard classic stuff. And what else? We'll talk about DLC last. Well, I know, we'll touch that on that now. So DLC, there will be, according to these rumors, an aggressive DLC season that will offer themed expansions based on some of the new locations. Will include a new hero in each one and new vehicles, so that would mean new ships and stuff. And lastly is there is a hero system, so much like the older Battlefront 2, I should say, like Call of Duty kill streaks, because they're so totally copying them. you'll be able to get points and unlock a hero. So it would probably be like a Jedi or a Sith or a bounty hunter or something like that with special abilities. For multiplayer, there will also be 64 players. Some modes, not all of them, will feature land-to-space battles, which is something everybody clearly would like in Battlefront, and is a huge, that's its thing, land-to-space battles. So, again, we don't know if these are legit or not, but I don't know, they sound pretty reasonable to me. You guys would agree?
I mean, it's not out of this world to have 64 players.
It is, yeah.
Entire saga of Star Wars included, and, just all the standard Battlefront stuff. that you saw in Battlefront 1 and Battlefront 2. So I mean, it's not like one of those things where they're like, Star Wars Battlefront 3 is gonna have the most amazing of graphics, and it's not even gonna be in first person. It's gonna be a third person adventure game with your friends, and you'll play as Lando Calrissian and some fan fiction and stuff like that. So I mean, at least it's not that.
Yeah.
You know?
And I guess, I mean, for those who haven't seen the sort of dev diary that they came out with last E3, if we can, go by what they showed us, then yeah, they'll be touching on like the original trilogy, because we saw those sort of older models on I think it was the Alder. What was it? Were they on Kashyyyk in that dev diary? It's not very fresh in my memory.
No, it was Endor and Hoth.
Endor. Okay. So, and we saw like the old style speeder bikes and the old style Rebel uniforms. So we know that's going to be in the game for sure. And of course the movie is also, like we saw in the teaser, sort of has the older style X-Wing and Millennium Falcon and whatnot, and the older style clone trooper uniforms, which
those X-Wings are new, bro.
they are slightly new. That's true. Yeah, they upgraded them a bit, but they kept this sort of, that older classic Star Wars style, which threw me off at first, but then I thought about it and I was like, oh, that's actually cool, that they're gonna go that route and probably use more practical effects, like they were saying. But anyways, we're not talking about the movie. We're talking about the game. Who out of you guys here, I'm curious, because I didn't ask you before, who's played the original Battlefront games?
Me.
You played 1 and
Denny.
2?
Yep.
What about you, Jimmy?
I've only played 2.
Okay. How about you, Tom?
Sicking me.
I played them in passing. I didn't own either of them.
Right.
I definitely played you know what, now that I think about it, I probably didn't play the second one. But I played the first.
Oh my gosh.
That's all good.
Missing out, Tom.
Don't pass judgment.
No,
bro.
I'm just saying.
Get
it's
out of
like
here.
Battlefront 2 is that like rite of
That was a
passage,
good game.
It is the Battlefront game to play.
Yeah, I played that one. I played that one across a generation of Xbox, because I played that on the Xbox, and then even when I bought the Xbox 360, it was backwards compatible. So I continued playing that because it was like the best split screen game that I had at the time. I mean, I can't.
Yeah,
It was still fun to play.
Oh yeah, definitely. When it did come out, we still had the original Xbox or the Xbox 360, and me and my cousins would just sit there for hours playing Battlefront.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was just one of those things where we didn't need to have internet because it had bots.
Yeah.
So we would just turn the difficulty to elite, and then it just go into Hoth and just start having fun.
That's an interesting point actually about the bots, because bots were a huge part of that original series. They filled out the battle. So I mean, we are going to have 64 player battles now. So with that in mind, like 32 versus 32, do you think, if that's confirmed, of course, do you think we would still need bots? Like, should that still be in the game?
I think I'd rather see that than a traditional campaign, quite honestly. At least from what
Okay.
I've seen from past Battlefield titles.
Yeah.
The AI isn't exactly worthy of needing a campaign, I don't think. Now, obviously,
Right.
They have a lot to work with the universe, but I think I'd be okay if it was just bot battles, honestly. Bot battles taking out and like a cutscene open up and then bam, bot battles. I think I'd be okay with that.
Well,
Yeah.
Tom, this is how Battlefront 1's and Battlefront 2's campaign were. It was basically like playing the multiplayer, with bots, but it was just like, here's a cutscene. You're flying into Kashyyyk. Now play Conquest with a bunch of bots, and then it was either if you won or you're lost, you'd see a different cutscene, and then it's basically what you just described.
And I think I'd like to see him keep it that way, as opposed to what I've seen with Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4, what they did with their single player.
Yeah.
That's just my take on it.
Yeah, that
I definitely
makes sense.
wouldn't. I wouldn't want them to put any kind of twists into the campaign where you like take the control of like some lone stormtrooper who has to fight through, every single battle and stuff like that, and then you survive, and then enter the Force Awakens kind of thing. I would just kind of want them to be like, hey, watch some cutscenes that you saw from the first episode, and now you're on the Battle of Naboo.
Yeah, like I wonder if they're gonna, how are they gonna treat the single player? Are they gonna do it like Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4 style, or are they gonna stick to the the classic gameplay style and just kind of throw you in these giant, bot battles, which is actually something. Actually, Denny, I remember last time we were talking with Alex about how Battlefield. Some of us thought that the single player campaign doesn't make you feel like you're in, like the game has anything to do with a battlefield. You're just kind of like going through it as a single dude or as a squad,
Yep.
right? That would be sweet for like the Battlefield series to do that. So like you get dropped into big bot battles, and then that would totally. Then it would be a Battlefield title. That makes sense. So yeah, I don't know. That'd be cool if
I think
Battlefront does
if
that.
they did how they did it in Battlefront 2, if you played like a certain version of the campaign, was that like you had the 501st, which was arguably like the most iconic of the Republic clone troopers, and the entire thing was just kind of like you're just a generic soldier, but there is kind of that narrative of here's the 501st, and here's the history that they went to until they turned into the stormtroopers and all that stuff. So I think if they did that again and stuck true to the formula for Battlefront 2 and Battlefront 1, then I think it would be fine with it. Just because DICE kind of lost a lot of consumer trust after Battlefield 4, and now that Battlefront is coming out again, people are gonna, people are riding on the line with this. Like, they want this to be like the Battlefront game to end all Battlefront games.
That definitely ties into what I was in terms of it's a traditionalist viewpoint, because bot battles really aren't a new game mode. Honestly, they've been around since the original PlayStation, I would say. And it's more so, in terms of consumer trust, I'm more so concerned with what I've already seen in Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4. So if they're just going to do what I saw with those two campaigns and slap it in a Star Wars universe, I don't want that. I'd rather just play it safe, do bot battles, so I can at least tolerate unlocking multiplayer guns, because I'm forced to play a single-player campaign. Not that that's confirmed, but that's probably what's going to happen. But it'd be more tolerable if I was doing bot battles. If they can progress it, like try something really cool, I mean, go for it. But as long as it's solidly executed and packaged together, not like what I saw with the past two Battlefield titles.
Yeah, and what was great with the older games, because the campaign was bot battles, there was so much replayability, because like no campaign level was the exact same. You could, it was just a wide open battle. You could put on different difficulties. I don't remember what the unlock system was like, if there even was one.
For Battlefront?
Yeah, there wasn't, was there?
The unlock system was basically, you had, I believe, 5 classes that were generic ones, and then you had 2 extra classes which were like specialists.
Yeah.
Well, one had shotguns and the other had like invisibility or something like that. Like they each had like their super duper perks that made them like really viable, but they still had that kind of balancing going on. So, I mean,
if they do bot battles though, then they've got that replayability box checkmarked right away, so that would be super smart of them to do it that way for the campaign.
And another reason I wouldn't mind is you could really get enveloped in the environment too. I mean, we're talking a couple generations here since the last Battlefront came out. I mean, and it's going to be 60 frames per second. I can't even imagine how awesome that's going to be. So I'm honestly, the more I'm talking about, the more I think I would like to see bot battles with just crazy environments, 60 frames per second, and characters everywhere. I think
that's why we're even talking to this, because knowing the engine, the DICE's engine, and the developers, it's like this thing could go both ways, right? Like there's so much exciting. There's a lot of exciting. There's a lot of stuff that could be exciting about the game, but having seen some of the other stuff in the past, it's like there could be trouble with the engine, or maybe with the way EA and DICE kind of go about the launch of the game. So it's gonna be. They have some huge expectations to live up to, and it's pretty ballsy coming out of Battlefield 4 too.
What do you think they're gonna do with the DLC package? Like they're talking about all this in the rumor, aggressive. Do you
I
think it's just gonna be premium, like premium again? Because it would definitely suit it. Like I would love it to just be premium. But do you think there's gonna be premium plus additional paid DLC, or do you think they'll just be like premium and that's it?
Nah, I think it'll be like premium.
They know there's a market for Battlefront already. I mean, I think they're gonna probably play it a little safe instead of going apeshit like they did with Battlefront or Battlefield. In terms of DLC, they're probably gonna play it a bit smart and say, "Hey, this is what we got planned for DLC. None of it is coming out day one or anything like that." And I mean, knowing EA and DICE, they're usually day one DLC content wise, but in terms of how aggressive they are, I think it's just going to be a bunch of maps to make the community more happy.
Yeah, it sounds like it'll be a pretty, I think a pretty traditional Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4
Standard
style of DLC.
I don't think so at all, okay, because they're releasing Battlefront so closely to the movies that having an aggressive DLC plan basically just screams, hey, as soon as this movie comes out, we're gonna announce, new DLC that falls in line with the movie. So you'll see like all the characters or villains and heroes and stuff like that come into, the Battlefront.
But that makes amazing sense from a marketing standpoint.
And
I mean,
honestly, I wouldn't be angry because it's Star Wars.
The movie, they're gonna use the movie to hype the DLC for Battlefront. I could totally picture that.
Now, here's the issue I have with that is, what if the movie's really bad?
Yeah, there's a chance. You never know.
Rip J.J. Abrams' career.
Like Mark Hamill said, we should, I don't remember the article and the exact quote, but we should manage our expectations wisely.
Well, rest in peace, J.J. Abrams' career if he screws it up.
Yeah.
Well, no, if it's bad, then you got all this DLC in the game to remind you how bad it was.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, like I said, it could go both ways. Let's talk about some of the concerns we had. Jimmy, you mentioned a good point. I think Tom did too, because in the last Battlefield podcast where we were talking about Hardline, we talked about vehicle physics and how, it's not the best vehicle physics in the world, and hopefully
You don't want to be driving a TIE fighter and rubber banding all the way all over space.
Yeah, exactly. It's
Netcode needs improvement before this game launches. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And I'm worried they're going to try to make it a bit more realistic, the vehicle physics, for at least flight. I've never really enjoyed flying in Battlefield. I've always thought it was a little bit too difficult, even though it really isn't. It just feels, compared to other games, the controls feel a lot tighter.
I think, given that Star Wars spans such a humongous audience, like from all ages, I think they're gonna make the barrier of entry for like the difficulty in this game and the multiplayer. I think they're gonna keep it pretty low because, let's face it, there's gonna be a lot of kids wanting to play this game, and EA is gonna market it to them, and they're gonna want them to play it. So they are probably gonna, I would imagine that they would keep like the vehicle controls pretty simple.
If they can deliver me a Battlefront game with Battlefield style first person shooter gameplay, as in just the core gameplay of the first person shooter, I'm not talking about like all their weapon attachments and stuff. I'm talking about just how it feels overall.
Yeah.
If they can give me that with an arcadey style of vehicle physics, where they feel loose enough, but you're in control and everything, I'll be happy. That's all they really need to do. They don't need to tighten the controls or anything for the vehicles.
Gotcha. Yeah.
They just need to stick to the fundamentals, because what you just said was in Battlefront 2, and that's the thing. And they just need to stick to the fundamentals, because if they do make it realistic and they do create this, these physics for flying and just kind of general physics for soldier movement and all that stuff, then it's just gonna ruin the
Can
game.
you imagine if they just totally go R rating for the voiceover like the other Battlefield games?
Battlefield 3.
Jedi spotted! Fuck me in the ass!
I wonder.
Because they have
if they'll
southern accents.
I wonder if they'll have that like special Easter egg where whatever the revive tool in Battlefront is, whoever you kill it with, you just hear some Russian guy like screaming like "fuck you."
Yeah. Yeah, they could go. Yeah, they. But obviously they won't. I mean, it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be a more of a kids game than it will Battlefield.
I don't know. I just really want them to stick true to the original Battlefront games. I mean, that's all they really have to do, and I'll be happy. I mean, they don't.
Well, I mean, there was no swearing in those games.
Yeah, but
And
there's not really swearing in Star Wars in general, though.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's gonna be. Yeah.
Yeah, just give us the original. Just give us everything Battlefront was. Just update the graphics.
Yeah.
Give us some new vehicles, weapons, and.
Oh, but I
such.
guess. So one thing we didn't talk about though was, the question I had was like, if we're just talking about multiplayer and it's 64 player battles, and if it is 64 player battles, do we need bots in addition to those 64 players?
I would say
you
yes.
think so?
I would say yes.
Because that'd be pretty nutty.
Wait, in addition to those 64 players?
Yeah, so you have live 64 players, and then you have bots on top of that.
Yes.
That'd be sweet.
Yes, I actually do agree with that. I mean, it worked on last gen and PC and stuff, or actually, I don't remember, were there additional, or was it always just 64?
Well, you could do do LAN parties.
Yeah.
Okay, on the PC, you could do LAN parties and have like 12 people playing, and then have the rest be like 64 bots and stuff like that. So I mean, it's totally doable. But I think if they're gonna have a point system similar to Battlefield, I think what they need to do is they should make every bot kill like 25 points instead of 100 points. So you can't just sit there and farm.
That'll end up a lot like attrition mode in Titanfall.
Titanfall, yep.
This is all right. But obviously there'd be more players. I would bet you anything that they. I mean, I really want that, but I bet you they wouldn't do it because the Xbox One and PlayStation 4 won't handle it. Or sure, whatever. Let's pick on Xbox One. If they did that, I bet you anything that they would have to like drop the frame rate to 30.
No, they would never, ever compromise frame rate for this game. And the other thing is, I mean, it's bots. It's not like it's another 100 people trying to connect to the game. So there isn't the whole
but it's still more characters to render.
There's still logic. I mean, you gotta remember, players gotta connect with the bots too.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot to handle. I don't know.
Well, I hope to God they don't go, hey guys, we're going to be Ubisoft, and we want you to experience Star Wars the way that it was meant to be played, with
the way
frames per second,
cinematic style
experience.
Yeah.
And 900p.
I'd prefer 24 frames actually, because that's the way movies are mostly displayed.
You disgust me.
I would much prefer 24 for sure. Okay, let's talk about so land to space battles. That's obviously, that was okay. In the original Battlefront series, they weren't quite land to space battles because they were like two separate modes. You had your I don't know what they call it, but you had your carrier versus the enemy carrier, and you could either get inside there, blow up the generators or the engines, or blow up stuff from the outside. But I think what a lot of people want for Battlefront is to kind of take, like the 2015 Battlefront, is to take that to the next level and have these ground battles in addition to space battles going on at the same time.
there definitely needs to be a game mode that is similar to Rush, all right, where you start
Yeah.
in space with those space battles. You know, you take down a few Star Destroyers, and then once you take that, then you start the invasion of whatever planet you're going into. And
Totally.
I think Galactic Conquest with a side of Rush from Battlefield would be one of the greatest game modes like to ever be played if they
No.
did that.
Now, I don't think it's been actually confirmed that there's going to be land to space battle. I think
No,
that
it
was
hasn't.
actually,
It hasn't.
yeah,
That's
that
still a
was
rumor.
actually the old build that they scrapped, the original
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
Lucas.
But I mean, you know, it's just
If
like
they do.
everybody wants it. Everybody,
I know.
I think they're gonna do it.
if
It might
if
not
they
be
do-
as.
go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, it might be a little more underwhelming than what we expect, but I think they're gonna do it still.
Well, and if they do, then they definitely need to go for bots, 64 players and bots,
Yeah.
just to make it
'cause,
busy.
Well,
If they
if you do it the way Denny suggested, which is like Rush, then you'd be okay because then it's not like you really have those two going on at the same time.
Yeah, but nobody wants that.
So
People-
would that
I think that'd be cool.
That'd almost be like
want
Star
block
Wars
off.
version of Dama Van Peak, right? Like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, in a way, it's just with ships then instead of free
Yeah.
falling with a parachute.
You go
People
up
want
instead of
fly
down.
off the planet and go into space.
You mean like while there's a battle going on the ground at the same time?
Yes, people want to do that.
That would be cool. But
see, the issue with that
it'd be
is
hard.
that people are like, oh my god, guys, I want space and land battles at the same time. But then they forget that there can only be like 64 players on the map at one time. I mean, with consoles in particular. So, I mean, if there was that
Well, that's
PC
why-
kind of exclusive game mode, then it could be, it could be feasible. But then people aren't thinking like, maybe that it's not possible as we think it is, even though it's 2015.
Yeah, but that and that's why you guys are saying you want the bots too, is because that would sort of fill in that space literally.
Bots would make everything better.
It would.
I
Yeah,
don't,
I mean-
don't even care how bad they are, to be honest. Just as long as they're there, just shooting
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean,
if they're
they're not the best, even in Battlefront 2, but still.
Yeah.
that's very true.
An idea I had was kind of take a regular old Conquest and add it to air superiority. So you have I thought it'd be cool to have both at the same time. So you'd have 6 objectives on the map, 3 on the ground, 3 in the air, and the 3 objectives in the air could obviously be like ships or something. And so you have it's just like 2-dimensional conquest where you have your ground battles and space battles going on at the same time. That
I'm
might be
quite-
pretty cool.
I'm quite interested in how they're going to Star Warsify the most common game modes in first-person shooters and stuff like that. Like I'm wondering how they'll do like team deathmatch and domination and conquest and stuff like that. Because I mean, in retrospect, Battlefront is Battlefield just with a Star Wars skin on it. I mean, that's really how the inspiration started.
Yeah, I don't know.
Pretty much.
Honestly, I would love it if they just took, they just came up with 2 or 3 really good game modes. Like have, kind of the Rush style thing that you mentioned. Maybe with a really large Conquest style mode, and then maybe something a little more smaller, maybe TDM. Just have 3 solid game modes, and then just build a really great experience around those 3. I think that would be, I would love that. I don't know if they would do that because these days it's the more modes the better. But I don't know.
Titanfall really made it clear that you can have great unique game modes, but then if you have way too many game modes, then you got way too many people spread out.
Exactly,
The only game
so-
mode that anyone is gonna play is team deathmatch. And Call of Duty even capitalizes on that. You will not find anyone in certain game modes.
Yeah, so that's why I'm thinking just 2 or 3 really great game modes. I think they would do well to do that in Battlefront.
All they really need, in my eyes, is Galactic Conquest. All right, and I mean that's just simple turn-based invasions and space battles kind of thing. and then have like a variant of Rush. In like way back in 2012, I think it was, I came up with a game mode called Infiltration, and it's basically Rush, but you go into the ships, you take down way more objectives than there should be. Okay, you disable like a Star Destroyer or a Rebel ship, and then you invade the planet or whatever.
Yeah.
And
Well,
then,
that sounds like
you know,
Titan mode or Carrier Assault.
yeah, that's basically the inspiration for it.
Yeah, they would. I totally see them doing that for Battlefront. They would totally do that. I wonder how they're gonna handle, like, I don't know, the third person. Oh wait, this game, they confirmed that you can play both first and third person, right? Or was it just first person?
They said, quote, there is an element of a third person mode in the game.
So that's probably those heroes that they were talking about.
Well, that
heroes.
worries me a lot, because I mean, if there was a third person mode, I mean, everyone knows Battlefront and it has third person mode. Why wouldn't they just come out and just say it rather than say there's an element?
If they're gonna make this game though, like competitive, you know, like 32 versus 32, I don't think they would let you swap between the two, because
but the thing
one
is
obviously
that
has an advantage.
The game's always been like that.
I know it has,
but there isn't a competitive advantage to that necessarily, okay? Because the way that the camera is, all right, unless they like raise it to the very top or something like that, where you can like see over cover, like.
But you can always see to the side of cover if you're hiding behind it in third person.
Yeah, but the thing is that what I'm saying is that if they make it to the point where you can like see over cover just enough to spot enemies and just sit there and, you know, and call everyone out, then yeah, it'll be broken for sure. But at the same time, Battlefront 2 really made it apparent that you can have a third person and first person mode and have them be really great.
They can be great. It's just, you know, that game wasn't. I wouldn't consider the Battlefront 2 to be as competitive as potentially what Battlefront 2015 could be. Because I think we're a lot more serious about that, right? Like there might, who knows, there might be a competitive crowd for this game. No idea, but
I mean, they haven't come around for Battlefield 4. I don't. This seems more like more of a cash cow, more of a mainstream title than something like Battlefield. So I think they would, if they had any trepidation about competitive misbalance, I don't think they'd care too much, just because it's a Star Wars title.
A setting as well. I mean, they could just turn it off.
Well, at the same time, you know, there's going to be a community where they're going to be like, hey, we should do, you know, esports stuff, you know, and then they're going to come up with their own rules. And, you know, I'm pretty sure as like a server owner, they'll give you that choice of like, do you want third person on this map? Do you want, you know, do you want these certain guns or gadgets and stuff like that in it? And that's another thing. What are they going to do for guns and customization for the game? Because Star Wars is not about customization. It's really about generic kind of bland settings with characters kind of thing, you know, because you only have you have like stormtroopers, and then you got like another class of stormtroopers, and then you got like the Jedi and the Rebels, and I mean there's not really this like huge variant in the universe where it's like you guys can all have crazy pink camos and stuff like that, and it's canon.
It's all set thing. It's like, hey, here's your weapon. Everyone gets the same exact weapon.
But they're gonna do pink zebra camos for stormtroopers.
They probably will. They probably.
Yeah.
They just need to keep it as Star Wars as possible without adding a bunch of unnecessary things. But they won't.
Who knows, man? But yeah, it's like, you know, blasters don't really have different sights and stuff.
We're all gonna be playing, and suddenly we're gonna see Palpatine in a zebra cloak, running around zapping everyone
with pink lightning.
With pink lightning.
What are you gonna say, Denny?
And he'll have a crazy Rancor mask going on. Taking up one of his gadget slots because that's how he wants to play, because he bought that game. He's entitled to that. And no, what I was gonna say is that it's interesting because we are always screaming that games need to be innovative and different from the last versions, and we want them to have new things. And then we're sitting here and we're like, damn it, DICE, just freaking copy and paste everything and just give us a few new models for, for characters and vehicles and stuff like that. Like, it's just one of those times where, like, you just don't screw with the lore and you don't try to interpret it in a different way, because Star Wars is set as Star Wars is set. The fan fiction, the novels that came out, spreading through the 70s and the 80s and the 90s, those are no longer canon. So everything in the movies just needs to be their inspiration, and if they screw with that, then people are just gonna, I don't know how people are gonna be, because people like the Star Wars.
I don't think they
like their
will.
Star Wars.
Are the prequels still canon, or did they say?
So how it goes is that the prequels and the original trilogy are all canon. The Clone Wars, the animation, like the TV show, that's canon. The new trilogy is canon, okay? But all of the books
new
that
series,
came
it won't
out
even be a
telling like a
trilogy.
story are just no longer part of it. So basically,
Lame.
Disney's is like, all right, you guys spent, hundreds of millions writing books. Well, we now consider it fan fiction, just published.
I think
Good
it's
job.
more a disservice to just people who got invested in
Get rid
that.
of the original prequel, or not original prequel. Get rid of the prequel movies. Nobody likes those.
No, they're good.
Nobody likes those. The only thing good in all three of those movies is Palpatine.
No,
The
not
only
even.
good thing.
Obi-Wan was a badass, okay, and that is a true fact.
Excuse me, Darth Maul.
No.
Darth Maul got cut in half
He
by
got cut in
Obi-Wan.
Because
Obi-Wan
they had
trumps
to.
Darth Maul, okay.
If it was a real life battle, Darth Maul clearly had that battle in control. But then the writers are like, okay, hold on, we can't let the bad guy win. Okay,
Why
so
didn't
slice him in
Qui-Gon-
half.
If it was real life, lol.
Why didn't Qui-Gon just wait?
If it was real life, Darth Maul would have won because the actor's an actual martial artist.
Well, Darth Maul did actually survive being cut in half. If you ever
Oh, that's
watched
true.
Clone
Yes,
Wars.
that's true.
Yep.
So there you go, badass right there. Obi-Wan didn't. Not Obi-Wan. Qui-Gon didn't survive.
That's because Liam
Obi-Wan
Neeson
didn't
didn't know what
survive.
to do. Obi-Wan got cut in half because he wanted to become more powerful than.
I know he actually
could
became
imagine.
immortal, in a way.
He became a
That's true.
ghost.
Ghostly immortal. Whatever.
Ghost.
Haunts Luke every night.
But yeah, I mean, what's kind of weird to me is they literally, in a way, will be copying and pasting at least the story, because Battlefront 2, like, it did span all the movies already, so they're just gonna really be doing the same thing in a way, but next gen and years later.
I just want to know what they're doing for customization. That is the only
That's
because
interesting.
this industry is now fixated on what you can customize and what you can't customize. And Advanced Warfare was like, you can customize over 300 things and stuff like that, and it was just like, why do I need to customize my knee guards? Who cares about knee guards? Why does it need to be pink? Why does my camo need to be pink zebra? I don't understand people who care about that stuff to that extent. I understand like camos in general and like emblems, but when it gets to the point where they're like, look at my knee guards, bruh, they're gold. I slide on
man.
gold knee guards, bruh.
It's just the way. It goes.
I hope I can outfit my guns with like 10 different silencers in this.
Oh my
I hope
God.
they have at least 10.
And they all
They're
do the
gonna-
same thing. They just look a tiny bit different.
Yeah.
Yep.
Who knows? Yeah, it's an interesting point.
Silencers in Star Wars. Is that even a thing?
It's like
They should just give
they
us
can't
this
do. They can't really do that. You're literally like shooting giant bulbs of bright
You're
red
shooting-
light at your enemy.
You're
People
shooting-
are gonna be
you're
able to
shooting
find you.
plasma beams.
Yeah, actually, that's interesting. That whoever like, people are gonna be able to find the source of all fire, really, because you can just follow the laser beams. That might be. I wonder if that's gonna be like a balance
Oh,
consideration.
here's a. I don't.
Plasma trails are a thing. I'm gonna be mad.
Yeah.
I don't mind so much. I just wish that you can't shoot someone from all the way across the map. They should have it so the because I mean, think about it. I mean, the lasers, they're meant to phase out eventually. They don't just keep going if you miss.
Yeah, but the thing is that lasers are meant to like go where they're fired. There isn't plasma blaster.
Oh, that's
drop
interesting.
in the
Yeah,
game.
there'll be no
'Cause
bullet drop.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
gravity does not affect the blaster rifles and stuff
Huh.
like that. I mean, it's just
Well,
like
hey.
shoot
Yeah.
straight and boom.
That's
yeah,
cool.
They keep going in the same direction, but they phase out eventually, don't they?
No, not to my. I mean, like, I guess you could say that it phases out because I mean, there's never been like a moment in any of the canon material where you're just like, some guy shoots, a laser or whatever in space, and then all of a sudden some guy on Coruscant gets shot in the face by a laser that was shot, on the other side of the,
I'll give them the
universe.
benefit of doubt. They're probably a little more technically advanced than we are. I'm sure they can make lasers that like go on forever and ever.
I think maybe.
Well, I don't
maybe
want
for
them
a balance. Yeah, what I'm saying is, I think for a balancing thing, maybe they could add the mechanic of the blaster rifle has a 60-meter range or something like that.
Yeah, they'll do
So you
that,
can't,
probably.
so you can spot someone from like across the map or whatever if you had, the special binoculars. And if you tried shooting them and you didn't have like a powerful enough rifle, then you would know why you aren't hitting them because that rifle only has
So-
a 60-meter range or something like that.
Exactly, because there isn't any bullet drop. That's the thing. I mean,
Yeah.
if no bullet drop, meaning you're gonna shoot where you point at, no matter what.
Technically, there shouldn't even really be any recoil on the weapons.
Yeah, but there is
don't know.
recoil.
Yeah,
But
they're
then
gonna
the-
put it there anyways.
But the other
But-
thing is that only Republic Commando capitalized on iron sights for
Yeah.
weapons because in all of the movies, clones, regular soldiers,
They
don't
pretty much
aim
just hit
down the
fire.
Weapon. They're just like sitting there and
They're
they're
so
like,
dumb.
"I'm James Bond, bitch." Boom, 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 boom. Like the only scopes that you ever see are on the sniper rifles. So I'm wondering how they're going to bring new wave FPS into old school FPS.
Yeah. But I was gonna mention, it's like if they're not doing bullet drop, I wonder if they'll do something like move over to hit scan, and which might kind of alleviate the engine from some stress. Like if it no longer has to calculate bullet, travel velocity and bullet drop, then who knows? Maybe that could be an improvement in terms of
Hit
performance.
scan?
Yeah.
What is hit scan again?
Well, that's like what Call of Duty uses. Like there is no bullet travel time. Sorry, it's just when you pull the trigger, your bullet just goes where it was aiming, and it's there instantaneously. It doesn't have to travel there. If that makes sense.
Oh.
There'll be an animation that, or like a special effect or whatever you call it, that will show like bullets coming out of your gun, but that's literally just there for like a visual feedback to know where your bullets are going.
So
bullet
in
trails.
Call of Duty, when you have a weapon that fires at a slower rate, does it show that the bullet is going at a slower rate, or is it just kind of like an aesthetic? Where
Well,
it's like,
there is no
it
velocity.
says it has a slower rate.
There's no velocity, like bullet velocity or travel time in Call of Duty, so it's
So
only
how do they
about
do
fire
that, then?
rates. Well, I don't.
That's
I
a
don't
big
know
question right there.
No, this is what's been in use since like Counter-Strike. Like most first-person shooters use this. I don't know the technical terms and like how it actually works, but this is like that's what's in most first-person shooters. Battlefield is like they kind of, in my opinion, it was when I think it's a little more innovative and interesting to do this sort of bullet travel time. Oh well, Halo also does that, of course, because those are like, those are slow-moving projectiles, so you can dodge them and stuff. Obviously, a lot of old school arena shooters, right? Same thing. Those have bullet travel time, but stuff like Counter-Strike, that's hit scan. And Call of Duty, it's just the bullet goes. The engine recognizes where you're pointing when you pull the trigger and does that damage at that exact spot instantaneously. It's the best way I can explain it. I don't know.
So I forgot? Did Battlefront have melee aside from the heroes and civs?
I don't think so.
No, it did not. Unless you were playing a lightsaber wielding character, then there was no melee.
So I guess
Yes.
is that something they should add? I mean, at this point, honestly it is, but I mean, you got to remember, I mean, knifing a droid isn't going to do anything or shouldn't do anything.
Oh,
Well, they have
watch
probably
watch the
knives.
Clone Wars. Watch the Clone Wars because
They have those
it
vibroblades.
literally, yeah, the vibro blades especially. It literally dives into the entire, how clone troopers do their things, and especially when they don't have any ammo left and stuff like that. There is a
Yeah,
melee. There is a
there'll be
melee
melee.
present in the Clone Wars, definitely, because they're pulling out like tinted blue knives or whatever, and they're stabbing droids and they're cutting things, and they're going ham. So I mean, there's definitely an element for it. I'm just not sure how it would entirely fit in. You know what I mean? Because I mean, if it's not a
They're
knife,
gonna add it.
if it's not a knife or a sword, then what will the melee be? And is it gonna be something where it's like Battlefield, for instance, where like if you get knifed, it's like humiliating? How are they going to implement something like that and still have the same effect?
Well, they could always do like some sort of grapple stun-ish or something like that.
Ooh, yeah.
Battlefield Hardline, I think, they have a pretty good melee system. They got rid of the reversals, but they still have the behind the back assassinations, and then
yeah.
just sort of the regular old. I don't know. They could do that.
Beating people with sledgehammers. I love
Yeah.
it.
I don't know what that would be in Star Wars. There'd be like the longer vibroblades. I can't remember.
Yeah, vibroblades. And then there's
Just carry a big
there's
long
just a
samurai
few.
sword on your back. That'd be cool. I don't know. Yeah. Well, I think does that cover all the aspects of Battlefront we wanted to talk about?
Well, okay.
Is there anything else?
Here's my question for all of you. What are you just generally expecting from Battlefront? Just in general. Like, are you expecting traditionalist Battlefront 2 and Battlefront 1? Or are you expecting like new wave FPS, mechanics put into it, like, blaster drop and stuff like that?
What I want is a traditional Battlefield. What I'm expecting DICE to do, Battlefront, what I'm expecting DICE to do is make a Battlefield game out of it for some
Yeah,
reason.
that's no. I think that's totally reasonable. I think they're simply gonna make it. I think it's just gonna be 64 players, no bots, but they're gonna. I think they are gonna do a mode like Rush, where it's you do a couple objectives on the ground, then you go up into space, or the other way around, you have a space battle and then go down onto the planets. And then I think they're just gonna have a very traditional style sort of conquest thing. Yeah, I think it is basically going to be a Battlefield game with as many Battlefront classic elements thrown in as possible where it makes sense. So like I think they will have melee attacks. I don't know about the blasters and the customization. That's gonna be it's gonna be kind of up in the air. Interesting to see what they decide on that, but vehicles should be pretty cool. I mean, it'd be pretty cool to get on a speeder bike, in a battle, go from objective to objective.
Ooh, yeah.
Oh, that's what. Okay, that's an interesting point. How are they going to treat things like the walkers, like the chicken walkers?
What do you mean?
Because those are like really.
ATSTs?
Yeah, I just call them chicken walkers. The
gonna
chicken
make 'em-
and the
they're
cow
gonna make 'em-
walkers.
They're gonna make them as clunky as ever, like they're supposed
But-
to be.
But that like. Are they going to then be too easy to take down, or are they going to be like really, really, really powerful to make up for their clunkiness? I don't know.
I don't know, because I've been playing a game called Mech Warrior Online recently with
I
my
know.
roommate, and I mean, what they have is like a class system where it's like you have light mechs, heavy mechs, assault mechs, and stuff like that, and like each one has like a different defined role. You have the support, the the runner and the scouts kind of thing, and then you just have the jack of all trades, master of none. So I think if they take ATSTs and make them kind of like, you know, how they're supposed to be, this like mobile but not overpowered vehicle, then it'll work. And if they take the AT-ATs and make them slow but the kind of vehicles where like if you don't have the entire team focusing on it, then it's gonna do massive amounts of damage.
Yeah.
So
they're gonna put tripwires in.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You'll be able to set up tripwires and stuff, and then of course you can have the
hooks on Hoth. Yep.
Exactly. Yeah. I wonder how they're gonna do that.
No, they can do it just like Battlefront 2 did, where you're just flying around.
Yeah. They'll have to make those pretty nimble and slow. Because if they're like the same speed as like a jet in Battlefield, you're not going to be able to do that.
Yeah.
So they'd have to change sort of the speed.
Yeah,
of those
and
things.
that's the thing with the vehicles in Battlefront. They can go slow enough where they're basically hovering.
Yeah.
Seems like it.
Yeah. But yeah, as far as what I'm expecting, I think it's like you said. I think they're gonna do. It's gonna be pretty much a Battlefield game, but with just as many Battlefront elements thrown in where it makes sense.
I just kind of hope that the vehicles in the game are like just a plethora of vehicles, and not just kind of like, you know, here's some generic stuff like an A-wing or an X-wing and stuff like that. I want like everything ever.
They that is one option they could go for when it comes to customization. Put more vehicles in there and put more emphasis on vehicle customization if they're not going to do weapons.
Oh, how do you guys? Oh no.
I don't know how they'll do vehicle customization though, because there isn't.
Yeah, it's the
'cause that's
same
the thing.
thing.
Star Wars is so generic throughout everything that customization just does not make sense at all.
How do you guys?
Building your own lightsaber. That'd be sweet. No, but it's going to be like predetermined characters.
Yeah, but if you're playing heroes and villains, then you can't build
Yeah,
your
you're
own
not going to be able to.
How do you guys feel about Battlelog on console? I mean, I
don't even use it. It's
the
except to join games.
Hardline's system where they basically were like, you can do everything from in game again. I like that. But if they stick true to Battlefield 4's way, where it's like, yeah, you can't do anything from the menus. You have to go to the website to do everything, or you have to join a game to even customize your soldier. Then I'm not gonna be happy about it, because I think that's dumb.
I think they've heard that feedback, and yeah, I think they know.
Well, knowing DICE, they make games for themselves, not for the people that buy them.
Yeah, but you know, they've still learned their lesson.
Yeah, but at the same time, David, I mean, these are game developers we're talking about that have huge publishers over their head.
And remember, and the publisher knows. What I'm saying is, okay, at the end of Battlefield 4, they scrapped their sort of vision for the games, and they said, okay, we are now a player-first publisher. So, and hence this game changer programs for Battlefront. Oh my God, so many battle blah blah blah. Hence this game changer program for Battlefield Hardline. So I'm just saying, I think EA is gonna be like, no, we gotta do what the players want, even if it's not for the better of the game. I mean, who knows? They're just gonna want to do it that way.
My main argument with that is that if EA really did listen, they would not be having the whole pre-order the deluxe edition to get exclusive.
I know.
Only get, you know,
that's
if you go to the deluxe edition. So
yeah.
Again, I'm just saying, there's the half and half. Okay.
It's a different story when it comes to marketing. You know, then you get a little tricky there.
I'm not gonna blame DICE for any of this kind of thing. I'm just saying, if EA is like, if you pre-order Battlefront and get the deluxe edition, super lightsaber A-wing Anakin Skywalker edition, you'll get all of these blaster rifles and all these unique weapons, you know, on us, but you can't unlock them in the vanilla game, and we'll also make them really overpowered, and you can also get bonus hero time, because that'll also be a thing.
Yeah, hopefully none of that. So
24 hours in-game Palpatine.
with his pink lightning.
Yeah. Oh no.
That should be the feature image.
Yeah.
Just
Sweet.
Palpatine
Well,
and pink zebra robes, just shooting out
oh,
pink lightning
gross.
with
Gross, man.
with giant Rancor mask going on. I'm down.
All right. Anything? Any last words? Last pieces of advice?
When do you guys think the next trailer will drop? E3?
I don't have any faith for trailer dropping anytime soon at E3.
We're supposed to get something in the spring.
Well, if the game is supposed to come out this year before the movie,
Yeah.
I mean, we're looking at probably November. I don't know when the movie comes out.
December 15th or 17th of December.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're looking at a November release latest.
For
I
the
don't know.
trailer
I
or the
don't know.
movie? You mean the film? The game.
The game.
Right.
Actually, if you think about it, okay, they'll probably most likely release it at the end of October again, just because they would want to compete with Call of Duty, which would probably come out again on November 4th.
And they'll offer
It's always
the
first Tuesday.
5 beta as a pre-order bonus.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
They might do that. I wouldn't be surprised at all. But yeah, end of October release, 28, 29, 27. That's absolutely reasonable for Hardline. Hey, oh my God, Battlefront launch. Ugh, too many shooters this fall. Way too.
So we're looking at an E3 then for a trailer.
Yeah, probably. Well, something a reveal before E3, and then they'll probably be like, at E3 this year, we'll show off, player-filled gameplay and stuff like that.
Yeah, remember Hardline, it was originally supposed to launch at end of October, and they revealed it at E3. So yeah, that sounds reasonable. A reasonable sort of an E3 reveal, I guess.
I guess my last say in this would kind of just be like, DICE, if you decide that things need to change and you want to change all the fundamentals and traditional Battlefront things, then you better have a damn good reason and a damn good execution for doing it. Because if one thing is changed that made Battlefront really unique, and they change that and it goes horribly wrong, then there's gonna be a massive issue. If they screw up third person, there's gonna be a massive issue. If they screw up space to land battles, there's gonna be a huge issue. If they add vehicle physics, there's going to be a huge freaking issue. And I can just tell, because if you look at the feedback from every Battlefront fan who's played both the first one and the second one, they don't want like innovation that is, the craziest of things to make it new. They just want freaking updated graphics, updated servers, and they just want Battlefront 3. Like, that's literally how everyone references the new Battlefront. They're just like, I just want Battlefront 3. Like, that's just what I want.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's hear it from our audience members. Please let us know in the comments, what kind of Battlefront experience are you hoping for? As of right now, officially, we barely know anything about the game. So yeah, go wild with what your expectations are and what your hopes are.
If any of you want Commander mode, I'm gonna list it.
Nobody wants Commander mode.
I know one person who wants Commander mode, and he knows who he is if he's listening to this.
All right. Cool. Yeah, so keep your sights on MP First for more Battlefront news as we get it. Look forward to some more hints and details in the next couple months, hopefully. We're all hoping. And yeah, let us know what are your concerns and hopes for Battlefront, the next Star Wars game from DICE. And until next time, may the Force be with you.